vodka. Change for us all. Isn't it? Restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump
Hello.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Let's do this. Right, legends, welcome to another live stream. As you can see, I'm watching Mr. Jerome Powell here doing his little speech, and I'm not sure if you guys are doing the same thing. Very, very boring. Okay, just curious to see what he's saying over here. Not sure if the sound is coming through. I'm not sure if you guys want to listen to it. Okay, but anyways, I'm here to do some technical analysis on the price of Bitcoin. Right, I see you guys are streaming in. Welcome to another live stream. We are here to do a little bit of technical analysis, right? That is why we are here. I don't know if you guys want to go and listen to Jerome Powell, and it's not really doing anything to the price of Bitcoin here at the moment. So let me just put myself back here. Right, there we go. Dewald, legends, welcome to the live stream. Remember to smash up that like on your way in. If you're not subscribed, why not subscribe to the channel for future notifications where we do pure technical analysis. Yes, I did see some of the comments. Dewald, why did you not stream yesterday? Well, guys, I did say that I'm going to be busy for the next couple of weeks. I'm putting together an amazing trading course and a whole lot more. I don't want to give too much away just at the moment, but I am extremely busy here in the background, recording, putting my knowledge onto a video, as they would say, right? My way to give back. Also, some big plans. But legends, let's analyze the price over here. Okay, you can see small little breakout happening here at the moment, something that I was tracking. Small little breakout over here, position protected, right? I plan to take profits round about there. Small, very small trade, nothing to write home about. I was just watching Mr. Jerome Powell and was like, okay, well, looks like it's nicely breaking out. Okay, not a lot of volume, but there's some volume kicking in. Let me give it a little bit of a go over here. And right now I'm in this small little long position over here and planning to take profits. Let's see. Okay, let's see profit taking areas, or I'm going to get stopped out to break even. But profit taking area, if I take a trend based fib from the low to the high, I reverse it to the upside. There's a very interesting level that I'm watching there to the upside. Okay, 1.618. Do you guys see the 1.618? Okay, just want to make sure that everyone can see me. Yes, you can all see me. So I want to see, well, if price manages to find a little bit of upwards momentum, how is it going to react at the 1.618? If there's no reaction, how is it going to react at the 2 extension? Because that's what I do as a technical trader. I watch the reaction at each level. It's boring, guys. It really is boring. And it's as simple as that. You have your trading plan to the upside. You have your trading plan to the downside. And then when price hits those levels, you observe the reaction. That's it. That's what I do as a technical trader. I observe the reaction of Bitcoin when it hits certain levels. And based on the reaction at those certain levels, I will make a trading decision. That is trading, right? Anyways, legends, let me just put another music here into the background. I'm not sure, what did you guys think about that second song that I played? My brother's busy working on a new song for me. I'm not sure if you guys heard that song that played. Let me just play it here again. The Michael Saylor.
Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom of property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty, and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Right, legends, just to give you a little bit of a taste, my brother will listen to this and say, Dewald, it's not ready. Why did you play it for the legends? It's not ready. Well, you know, I'm giving you guys a little bit of a taste. I really like it. And, okay, let's carry on with the technical analysis here in the background. Right, okay, so taking the FIP levels here out the way, legends, there's no guarantee we're going to break out here, because if we do break out here, it's going to be very interesting. And this is something that I want to talk about when I do the technical analysis here. If we do break out and claim this high, something very interesting could be developing over here. But as per the thumbnail and as per the title, I don't think the correction is done. This, ladies and gentlemen, has a low probability of being the end of the corrective structure, and we're just going to continue a bull market here to the upside, even if it forms a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to explain what I'm seeing here on the larger time frames. But from a smaller time frame perspective, 15-minute time frame, okay, there's nice little trades to take. Yesterday, during the Legends Pro community, I was watching this zone, guys, and right from a FIP from the low to the high, this was the zone that I was watching for a bounce. It was the zone that I was watching for the bounce, but this little price movement was very confusing for me. Very confusing. It was a beautiful 3-wave structure, by the way. You want to see a 3-wave structure in a corrective structure, and we got the epic bounce here to the upside. But sometimes I get too technical and I miss out on trades. It is what it is, and the pro members will know that I was looking at this structure and I was waiting for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was waiting for that one more leg here to the downside. I wanted to see a 5-wave structure, not realizing that you can form a 3-wave structure in a WXY, where X is allowed to claim the high, and then you form a 3-wave structure in a Y, and then you continue momentum here to the upside. So I was waiting for that one more dip, but definitely an interesting zone. Myself and Andy jumped onto a call yesterday, and we psychoanalyzed the structure, also went onto the larger time frames, brainstormed together, eliminating some of the scenarios, deleting some scenarios, giving other scenarios higher probability. And there is 2 scenarios that I want to talk about today. 2 scenarios that are still very much in play. And also, as per the thumbnail, also the reason why I'm highlighting that I don't think that this is the end of the correction. It could be the low of the correction, but I don't think it's the end of the correction. Okay. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button. Love the new track, Dewald. Thank you so much. Wow. Let me just go through a couple of comments over here. Haha, same. We missed the V-shaped recovery. Yes, I mean, what a beautiful V-shaped recovery here to the upside. Absolute legend. I think if I'm not mistaken, I can go through the Discord. I did highlight this zone. To the legend, to the pro community, I did highlight this zone and say, guys, pay attention. As price was falling here to the downside, I highlighted this zone and I said paid attention, and there was another level here to the downside and another one here to the downside, but this was the one that actually got the bounce. Okay, I did highlight this level. So for the pro community members, you know exactly what I'm about to share over here. Dewald, long time man, where were you? Right, I'm gone for one day, people miss me, but I'm here, guys, I'm here. Right. Okay. So now, from a smaller, let's just wrap up the smaller time frames over here, and I'm just going to keep it very simple. Okay. Very, very simple, legends, is I'm looking for either, and I mean, it can get punchy. I don't want to say it's going to reject over here, legends, and then it just leaves like a rocket, because it can leave like a rocket. The most bullish target that I have for this momentum here to the upside is as follows. You take a fib from the low, a trend-based fib, second option, from the low to the high of this structure to the low that we've created over here. The most bullish target that I have, and I need to, let me switch on the prices on these Fibonacci levels. Okay, is $109,000, 477. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fifth wave target, a maximum fifth wave target. Okay, 0.618. So this is the most bullish fifth wave target that I have if price continues to rocket here to the upside and it does not reject at the 1.618. Okay, all of this zone is basically fifth wave target zone, but I would not expect the fifth wave to extend further than that, because then you're going to start running into dangers that your third wave is not the longest. Okay, and it has to be the longest wave. Well, it should not be the shortest. Okay, it should not be the shortest. So let me just turn that around. So, legends, things can get crazy and punchy here to the upside. From a conservative perspective, okay, it's quite easy. Let me take the fibs here out the way. The most common fifth wave targets is when you take a trend-based fib from the high to the low of this structure, you drag it across, you reverse it back to the upside, okay? Guys, I know this is technical, but you need, if you want to be a successful trader, you need to learn these pools. You need to learn the levels, okay? Right, I see I have a super chat. I will get to the super chat in a moment. Super chat, Huff 700 from Good Old Days. Hey, Mr. Good Old Days, welcome here. Appreciate the super chat. Absolute legend, man. Why can't, oh, there we go. Okay, super chat, Mr. Huff 700 from Good Old Days. Welcome to the live stream. Great to see you. Yeah, I did see you there on Andy's live stream as well, and I saw you said you're going to come and visit the live stream here today. Can we see the possible fifth wave target? Yes, that's what I'm currently busy here at the moment. So let's get right into that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Right, so from a conservative perspective, this is your fifth wave targets. Okay, between the 1.236 and the 1.382. Those are conservative fifth wave targets. They are also very common, okay, where you basically have formed a 1, 2 in a nice beautiful three wave corrective structure. 3, this is your fourth wave, and now you go up for fifth. You reject inside of this zone. It can even tap the 1.618. It's a little bit more rare, but I mean, still a target nonetheless. You reject in this zone and you fall to the downside. But then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the conservative fifth wave target. And the best play, the best way to play this fifth wave target is to watch the reaction at these levels, or you wait for price to dip below this high. Swing failure pattern from the high. Okay, price pumps above, it gets acceptance back below, stop goes above the high, and then you're targeting lower levels here to the downside. Because remember, after a 5-wave structure, you could form a 3-wave corrective structure, create a higher low, and continue back to the upside. And this is the significance of a 5-wave structure. And this is what I want to highlight now, and I'll bring it back to the higher time frames in terms of how the scenario could play out on the bigger time frame, is to say that if price successfully takes this high, okay, and we have a confirmed 5-wave structure here to the upside, the retracement is going to be very interesting, because there's a high chance that you could form a higher low and continue momentum to the upside. If price does not take this high and it starts falling to the downside, then I would say there's an increased probability, especially if it taps the 0.618 when you take this fib from the low to the high of this structure, especially if price taps the 0.618, okay, that price is going to claim this low, in a nutshell. Right. Okay, so which is it going to be? So yeah, on the smaller time frames, this is basically now what I'm looking at, legends. It really is for me as simple as, do we create a 5-wave structure? Okay, I'm looking for a short. If price gets acceptance back below the high, just to keep it simple, I will definitely be paying attention to these levels to see if I can scalp a better entry, depending on how price reacts over there. And I mean, there is that more bullish case scenario where price goes a little bit higher, here to 109, okay, that 1.618 that I've just highlighted. Okay, so as long, I can tell you guys now, and I have to say this again, as long as price is above my area of interest, I'm not shorting. I'm not interested in a short. Okay, I often get comments from people that say, that will tell me, Dewald, you said you're going to short that zone and price just fell through or pumped up or whatever the case might be. And then I'll be like, but I didn't see the reaction. Or if I did get in, I most probably got in, protected position, got stopped out at break even. So I can have multiple attempts without losing cash. Okay. So as long as price is pumping here to the upside, the next area that I will be watching is that 1.618 to the upside. Okay, from the low to the high, just to recap, to the low, let me drag that across, reverse it back to the upside. Okay, that is the maximum target that I will be looking at, 0.618. Okay, you can get a very punchy 5th wave here to the upside. It's not common, but you can get it. This is the most common area, where it basically sweeps the high and falls back down. So if I see a 5-wave structure, the retracement is going to be very, interesting, where I will then take a fib from the low to wherever this high is going to form, and then I will have my areas of confluence. I will be watching the 382, the 50%, the 618, pull a volume profile. I mean, obviously we've got the most amount of support here at the 618. Very interesting. You have this little pivot here at the 786. I will analyze the price as it falls to the downside, especially if we have a 5th wave over here. If price falls from where it is right now, just keeping it simple. Okay, let me take some of these levels here out the way because they can get confusing. Right. If price falls from where it is right now, aggressively with some selling pressure kicking in without claiming this high, and it starts falling, and we get a bounce, I'm looking for a short. That bounce is going to give me my short. Right. And then definitely come and claim the lows and even lower, right? And I will go and highlight on the larger time frame, which are some of the levels here to the downside that I'm paying attention to play along back to the upside, because I don't think it's going to fall very far. Okay, based on my analysis, right, legends? So this is what I see here on the smaller time frames. Now let's go on to the 1 hour time frame. I want to now talk about a couple of scenarios and why the technicals are currently showing me that this is not the end. Okay, not the end just as yet. I wish I could tell you guys that, you know, let's rock and roll. The end is in, and now we're going to build our 5-wave structure, and we're just going to rock and roll and continue the bull market to $130,000. It's just, you know, when I count the corrective structure, whatever has formed here and what is formed here and what is formed here is out of balance. It's not a high probable chance for the low to have been made over here. So although I will stand by what I said, whatever is happening over here is corrective, and the probabilities of claiming this high is still higher than the probability of falling just like a, you know, like a rocket here to the downside, or like a piece of lead here to the downside. So for now, I will stand by my technical analysis. Like I've been saying, singing the same song for the last couple of weeks, is based on this structure over here, the probability, regardless of how deep it goes, okay, regardless of how deep the correction goes, the probabilities are still higher to claim the high before we claim the low. Okay, that's just purely technical analysis. Unfortunately, not guaranteed, but this is what I see here technically on the chart at the moment. Right, so a couple of scenarios that I want to talk about, legends, is that this structure, Okay, I still see people debating this structure over here. Damn 5-wave structure. I'm not going to harp on it again because I've spoken about it so many times. I still see there's a lot of people saying that this is a 5-wave impulsive structure to the downside. Okay, whatever. Right, I don't see the impulsivity inside of this structure, especially with this move being a 3-wave structure. If it's expanding, 5th wave is too short. It doesn't have high probability. It's just as simple as that. So based on the scenario, I see that there were some people speculating on, well, okay, this is your A, this is your B, and now we're forming a C here to the downside in a contracting diagonal. This is what everyone was watching, okay? Do I still have it here? Yeah, here we go. Right, legends. I don't even have to draw it out. Let's do this. Contracting has been invalidated, right? This is something that I shared with our Legends Pro community to say that, well, okay, let's give the scenario the benefit of the doubt. We have a 5-wave impulsive motive wave inside of A because, you know, and this is where things get a little bit technical. What's the best way for me to explain this? In order to get a 5-wave structure in a C wave, okay, this leg, in order to get a 5-wave structure in a C wave, your A wave has to be a 5-wave motive wave, which means it has to be either an impulse or diagonal. Okay, unless the B is a flat. And this B front run the flat target. So if I take a fib from the high to the low, you can see, I just want to make sure I get it exactly. The 0.9, which is considered a flat minimum flat target, has been front run. It's not tapped. So if this is a 3-wave A, in order to get your 5-wave C, the B has to tap your minimum flat target. The only way the B can front run the flat target and make a lower high like it did over here is if your A wave is a motive wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where 4 does not go into the territory of 1. Or it's a contracting diagonal. It's not a contracting diagonal. We can see that, right? And then some people will say, but on some exchanges, this little pivot did not go into the territory of 1. I am using the chart in front of me, and all the major charts like Binance, Coinbase, Bybit, they all entered the territory of 1. Okay, then people are going to say expanding diagonal, and then I'm going to say the 5th wave is too short. Expanding diagonals are very rare. The only time people has ever seen an expanding diagonal is on 23rd of March 2023. So only once in the entire history of Bitcoin. That's how rare they are. Okay, so anyways, legends, regardless of how I carry on about this scenario over here, myself and Andy discussed this scenario in detail yesterday, where we just basically both said, okay, well, we have an invalidation. And now the invalidation got tapped. So the scenario is invalidated. Should be deleted out of my folders. Okay, so if I go and clean up the chart just to show you, this is what I shared with the Legends Pro community as well, is to say that, you know, price was trading over here somewhere, and I said, guys, okay, well, we need to form a 3-wave structure in a 4th wave. Okay, we need to reject in another 3-wave structure, and then I'm going to say interesting longing opportunity over here. End of correction, and now we can continue the bull market back to the upside. And here is my invalidation. Okay, you might be asking yourself, why is that an invalidation? Because contracting diagonals are way more common than an expanding structure. So I take a parallel channel from number 1 to number 3, and I put it on number 2. Oops, just want to make sure that I select it on number 2. There we go. And that is where my invalidation was. So as soon as the 4th wave taps, the top of the channel invalidated. So it got invalidated. It tapped the top of the channel. Right, so this scenario basically now goes in the bin. Okay, because I saw this all over social media. Contracting diagonal to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was like, This doesn't make sense. Do you guys see how I use the entire structure to determine probabilities of what is going to happen over here? So when people said lower high, I said, yes, it's not invalidated. It just carries much lower probabilities because of this. Right. Cool, legends. So now I can switch off the scenario. Most probably delete it. I'll just leave it there for education purposes in case I need to show someone in the future. And now, okay, I'm sure you have all seen, okay, this is an ugly scenario. I'm not even going to talk about it. Right, let's go through some of these. This is the one I've just spoken about. Ooh, that's the interesting one I want to talk about. That's the interesting one. But this is the one that Andy has also spoken about. Very interesting scenario, okay, where we are now busy with the B wave over here, okay? We are now busy with the B wave, right? The B can also be here, okay? And this is now the question. And this is now what I'm watching, because if this is an A, B, C, it does not create a fifth wave, because then it's a 5-wave structure. A B wave is not allowed to be a 5-wave structure. It has to reject here, okay? So in a B wave, it has to be a 3-wave structure, unless it's going to form a larger 3-wave structure. 3-wave up, 3-wave down, 3-wave up, and then you move your B over there. Okay, so for now, this is what we got. Okay, so I will adjust the scenario as price and I get more information. And now you're still looking for a C wave here to the downside to go and complete your Y. Next area to the downside that I'm specifically paying attention to is the 786. Okay, and this was the zone that I highlighted to the Legends Pro community when we had this price action over here. Very interesting level, and that is where price found support. Okay, I think what is interesting about this is if I switch on the VRVP, guys, I'm taking it nice and slow. I hope I'm not going too fast, so for everyone to follow over here, I'm just trying to show you how I identify these levels. I want to make sure that I do have, okay, there's my levels, guys. So let me take the scribble here out the way. If I start up the Legends Pro community, I can show you guys, this is exactly what I showed them. Exactly, to the T, what I showed them when price fell here to the downside. Said, guys, pay attention. If price doesn't hold by the 618, let's pay attention to the 786. Okay, if price doesn't, because I didn't know how aggressive the fall was going to be here to the downside. But can you see the high volume nodes over there? Perfectly aligning with my Fibonacci levels. Okay. High volume node, high volume node, high volume node, 1 to 1, 786, 0.618. That is where price got the bounce. Basically a swing failure pattern from the lows. Okay, beautiful long here to the upside. Okay, and then I have my boxes to the upside as well. Also aligned, you guys can see now this is where price is at the moment, at the point of control where the most amount of volume was traded during this entire range. Price is squashing over here. It's either going to break down, okay, or it's going to make that fifth wave there to the upside, right? So we've analyzed the smaller time frames. Just want to show you guys what I'm seeing here on the bigger time frames. So in this scenario, and I'm sure if most of you here follow Andy as well, in this scenario, basically what we're looking for is the following. Okay, so let me zoom into this structure. If I take a fib from the high to the low, price has tapped a flat minimum target. So this B wave is valid. It has tapped the 0.9. It's a flat target. Okay, because most commonly after you formed your X in a triangle, A, B, C, D, E, okay, we were talking about this E during my last live stream, and I said, guys, I wanted to come to the trend, rejecting this box, but I do know that you can form a lower high in an E and then fall down, and that's exactly what happened, right? So tap the 1.236. I see some of the people here in the live stream also highlighted, Dewald, thanks for providing this short, because I highlighted the target for this short, and some of the people took that trade. They took that trade and they rode it all the way here to the downside. So good on you, right? Beautiful short here to the downside, because I spoke about that level during my previous live stream, the 1.382. Okay, I was expecting price to still go higher. I wanted it to come and reject in this box, but I did say, I ended off the live stream by saying you can form an E over here and break down, which happened. So now, legends, to play out this scenario, what you want to see is for this high, okay, to hold. And for price to now create impulses to the downside to complete your C wave, which is obviously going to take this low. And this is why these two levels are so damn important. Because after a WXY, there's a chance that the corrective structure could be finished. W, okay, X in a triangle, and now you formed a flat in a Y. There's a chance that the low could be done over here. Right, and then we continue the bull market to the upside. It does seem a little bit short in time. If I look at how short the Y wave is compared to how long the W is, usually there's a relationship. So maybe what's going to happen here, it makes a 3-wave structure in a B, and I just move my B over there. C wave moves up a little bit and it gives it a little bit more proportion. But the one thing that I want to make clear over here, legends, is that, let me just take some of these FIP levels here out the way. Sorry, not that one. This one, just to clean it up. The good news, although the thumbnail sounds bearish, okay, although the thumbnail sounds bearish, and I'm saying that it's not the end of the corrective structure. So based on the scenarios that I'm showing everyone over here, can you see that it's very difficult for me to count a corrective structure from the high to where price is at the moment, and that is the low. It's just there has to be a relationship between your waves. You have a beautiful wave over here in a 3-wave structure, or in a 3-wave structure. Then you have this sharp move here to the upside, and now it doesn't make sense, because even from a timing perspective, you guys know how I like to look at time. From a timing perspective, okay, this high was made before the 0.382. which tells me that all of this, okay, is standing by itself. This is a movement, this is a movement, and then this movement still needs to complete, so that it has that connector, it has the balance, the Fibonacci ratios needs to balance inside of it. I'm trying to explain it as best as I possibly can over here. Right, legends, so this scenario is still very much valid. One of the scenarios that I want to talk about, BTC breaking down. Most probably, okay, we'll see here on the 15-minute time frame. I most probably got stopped out because I did protect my position. Okay, let's see. I might still be in the trade. I'll see after the live stream. I'm either stopped out, but I did enter here somewhere. Okay, so the high chance of me being stopped out and price to start dropping aggressively here to the downside. Okay, small little attempt, okay, legends, but I mean, I have explained the scenarios. I have explained the scenarios. So let me just drag these boxes ever so slightly. Okay, so we can get price action in there. Right, let's go back here onto the 1 hour time frame. Before I tackle the last scenario, let me just take this out the way, clean up the chart. Right, is Mr. Powell finished over here? Or is he still, he's still talking? Mr. Powell is still talking over here. Wow. Right, legends, let me go here into this live stream. There we go. Down in the description, legends, your way to support the channel, and also the best deals that these exchanges has to offer. It's actually 20%. I need to change this. This is 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account with Bluffin. All you need is an email and a password. The more you trade, the more money gets airdropped into your account. Okay, weeks, 20% also, and 25% discount on your trading fees. BTCC, I went some, guys, call me crazy, but I went some altcoin shopping yesterday. I bought some altcoins here on BTCC, right? And Femix, guys, $150 free airdrop when you sign on, when you sign up. Okay, and if you want to join our Legends Pro community where I spend more of my time, and here's the link down in the description. Okay, right. So Legends, something else curious that I want to talk about. something else that I want to talk about. In fact, the butterfly that I highlighted yesterday with our Legends Pro community. So let's take a little bit of a break from Elliott wave theory, because I know it can get very complex, okay? This was one scenario that I highlighted yesterday to our Legends Pro community. For those of you that are not familiar with harmonic patterns, well, there you go. A harmonic pattern that is played out to perfection. Okay, and this is basically how it works. Let me zoom in. So it's a butterfly harmonic. I don't see them play out often. The Gartleys are more common to play out. The Gartley harmonics, very common. But basically it gives you your X, your A, your B, your C, your D. It forms that little butterfly that I've got. Okay, so you guys can see. Okay, very similar. Look at the green one over there. That's basically what formed. Okay, there's the pattern that formed. Okay. From A to C, it needs to be between the 382 and the 886. Perfect. It balances. Okay. You can see you have a high and a lower high. And that is the target that needs to be between those two targets. Right. This is how harmonic works. This leg here to the upside needs to be 786. Okay. Very close. Okay. It's never perfect. In real life, you know, they give you the perfect targets over here, but in real life, you need to compensate a little bit. But I mean, damn, that is close. Right, and then yeah, between the 1.618, perfect, it balances, right? And then yeah, 1.216 balances, right? So beautiful butterfly that played out over here. And how they basically work, for those of you that are curious about harmonics, because I do know that there are people that only trade harmonic patterns. That's all they do. It's the only strategy that they use. It's a very powerful strategy. Problem is you have to be so patient because you don't see them all the time. Okay. Step for 1, Dewald, the price action on the 4 hour showing it mode. Yes, I'm going to go talk about the most bullish case scenario over here, but it's still corrective. Okay. Yeah, I'll get to that. But basically how you trade an harmonic is that you take your FIP from the C point to the D point. And when you long the zone here by the D point inside of the targets that I've just shown you, and maybe you play the breakout, okay, maybe you caught the swing failure pattern from that 0.618 that I've identified, the support that we hit over there. Maybe you were lucky enough to get in here like Andy. I know Andy got into this long over here, and he also posted it to the community. The 0.618 is always, when you play an harmonic pattern and you take a FIP from C point to D point, the 0.618 is always a profit taking area. Okay, then you can leave a little bit of the position open for the C point, which is TP2 and TP3. You're out the trade. Okay, those are your profit taking areas. Right, so you have hit, for those of you that played the harmonic, you have hit TP1, which should be the most aggressive profit taking area, where you take at least more than half of your profits if you did manage to catch along over here. And I saw that's what Andy also did. Andy did take profits over here from the long that he took, because he's you know, flat target hit over there. There's a chance that price is going to fall down. It's not going to, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen, and if price falls down here, you know, you don't want to lose all that profits, but guys, you don't want to lose it. Right, so beautiful harmonic that played out over here. But then there's another harmonic that I'm keeping an eye on. Okay, this is a small one. This is a teeny weeny tiny one that I'm keeping an eye on. There is another one. When I look at this pivot, can you guys spot the harmonic when you look at this pivot? Can you spot it? I know pro members, I've already shared it with you yesterday. Okay, can you spot an harmonic from this pivot? Right, there we go. There's a potential harmonic that is still in play. Okay, and regardless of what happens over here, this is a very interesting level that I'm going to be paying attention to. Can you see the support? Okay, it's the 786. It's also those levels that I've highlighted when I discussed the X scenario. So let me just overlay that for everyone. Can you see? There's your 0.618. There's your 786. There's your 1-to-1 extension. When I switch on the VRVP, there's a high volume node. Okay. Definitely something, an area that I will be paying attention to, regardless of what price does over here. Maybe it goes higher, maybe it goes lower, whatever it does. Maybe it makes circles, you know, maybe for the first time we see Bitcoin make a couple of circles and zigzags over here, and then it falls here to the downside. Definitely a zone that I'm going to be paying attention to, because these godly harmonics play out very often on the price of Bitcoin. And the godly harmonic, I'm not sure if I have the picture over here, but basically is you have your B point retraces to the golden pocket, which it did. Your B point retraced to the golden pocket when you take a fib from the low to the high. Simple as that. Okay, your C point hit the 0.88, and now this D point, okay, has a target of the 0.88 or the 0.786. That's it. That's your target, right? It doesn't have to hit it to perfection. Sometimes it goes a little bit lower. Okay. From a timing perspective, it would make sense for whatever is happening over here to still carry on a little bit from a timing perspective, because one thing that I always pay attention to from an harmonic perspective is time. I always measure this wing, okay, this wing to this wing. Okay, and I like them to be the same size, or at least similar in size. They mustn't be extremely, you know, it looks like it's a Finding Nemo fish with one small little fin and one big little fin. It mustn't be out of proportion. Okay. Right, legends. So from a timing perspective, you can see I've already pulled the time fib over here. The 1-to-1 extension is at the 6th of July. Okay, but at least it is past the minimum requirement. So you can have a wing that is short, but it has to be past the 0.382. Okay, anywhere in this zone is preferred. This is the perfect level here by the 1-to-1 extension. It can overextend a little bit, underextend a little bit, but I'm just putting it here by the perfect zone. Right, where you basically have a beautiful godly harmonic, okay. It finds support, which is great support, by the way, 786 above the highs over here, and then it bounces, because harmonic patterns are also known as reversal patterns. Okay, you guys think the diamond pattern is powerful. Wait until you've traded a couple of harmonics. Then you'll realize, especially on the larger time frames, if you see harmonic on the 4-hour, 1-hour, daily time frame, weekly time frame, they present massive reversal patterns. Okay, you guys think head and shoulders is cool. I hate head and shoulders. It's the pattern that I hate the most, because it's one of the patterns that gets invalidated the most. But harmonics gets respected, and not a lot of people trade harmonics, and not a lot of people know how to identify them properly, okay, or how to trade them, or where to take profits. Right, so without, and the reason I wanted to show everyone the harmonic over here is that it's a different way to trade. If you don't know Elliott wave theory, well, now you've got an harmonic that's potentially going to play out over here. When the harmonic hits a common area where it needs to get a bounce, that's where you pay attention. Okay, and by the way, guys, this can also be a bat. Okay, so let me switch on the bat target. Let me switch on the bat. Here is the bat. There's the bat. Right. If the D point goes to the 0.88, then it's not a godly anymore, then it's a bat, but it's still a reversal. It's not allowed to take the low. Okay, so most commonly is the 786. Okay. A little bit more rare is the bat pattern at the 0.88. But you're not looking at claiming this low just as yet. Right, I do like the godlies more, because the 786 is also regarded as a maximum bullish target. Usually when you tap the 0.88, now you have a bat playing against the probability that you can claim the low because of the level that you've tapped. So the bat harmonics are not my favorite harmonics to play. I prefer godlies or butterflies or anything else but a bat. I don't like the 0.88. Right, let me go through some comments and see what you guys are saying, because I feel like I'm just going on showing you guys the scenarios, and then there's one more scenario that I want to share over here. One more scenario. Right, Powell saying some bearish stuff. I'm sure Powell, boy oh boy, haha. Right, my head was refused to learn harmonic patterns and Elliott wave theory. My head has refused to learn harmonic patterns and Elliott wave theory, Satoshi. I mean, guys, you don't understand. Once you grasp the concepts of harmonic patterns, reading the structure, because that is what Elliott wave theory is at the end of the day. It's about, can you believe that one day you will tell your friends when they look at candles that goes to the up and to the downside that I am able to count the waves? And they're going to look at you and be like, what? You can count waves inside of that shit? Okay, that is what Elliott wave theory is about. It's about reading the structures. Is this a 5-wave structure? Is it a 3-wave structure? If it's a 3-wave structure, you increase the probabilities of moving up. If it's a 3-wave structure, you increase the probability that it's a corrective structure to the downside, where this was a 5-wave structure to the upside. So, I mean, you can apply the theory on any time frame. The 1-minute time frame, 5-minute, daily, weekly, you take your pick. Okay. Because I can tell you guys now, even here on the 5-minute time frames, okay, I can look at these small little structures and I can make trading decisions like what happened yesterday. Okay, I did not jump into the long because of my bad, right? But I hope some of the pro members took this long because it was still the zone. I did identify, I had a box over here and I said, guys, I'm looking for a bounce over here, but I want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't get 5, so I missed the long. But there was a beautiful break of trend, and by the time it broke out, I told the people, it's not a long that I'm going to take because the risk reward doesn't make sense. There's another trade around the corner. Right. Okay. Anyways, guys, you know, this is the power about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, interesting. If I see a 3-wave corrective structure, very interested in a long. So by reading the structures, you know which way to trade, where there's a higher probability of either moving up or moving down. Okay. Right. Let me go through some more comments. Dewald, the price action in the 4-hour show. Yeah, Stefan 1, that's the last scenario that I want to talk about. This is now the last scenario I want to talk about over here. Okay. So if you are bullish and you believe the price is going to go higher, well, I have a scenario which is still bearish, but it's in the short term very bullish. Okay, and I don't see a lot of people talking about the scenario. I'm not sure if I point it out, I'm not sure if you've seen anyone else talk about the scenario that I'm about to highlight. Okay, I bought ICP yesterday. Yes, you know, you guys can call me crazy. I don't care, because I know, Mr. Crypto Big Brains, me and you know both, okay, and most of the pro community as well, that everyone called me crazy when I bought altcoins over here. People laughed at me. The comments that I received, are you crazy? How dare you mislead your community? But I can only tell you guys that I can only tell you what I am doing. At no stretch, by no stretch of the imagination am I giving any financial advice. I'm just a crazy dude here on YouTube, okay, doing crazy things, right? But I bought altcoins over here where no one wanted to buy. And yes, yesterday I bought some more. You might be thinking I'm crazy, but I mean, some of them, they look so... I won't say the altcoins look juicy. I would rather say I love the sentiment that's in the air. I love the sentiment that's in the air. There's a lot of bearishness in the air. We're not going to get altcoin season. Like DOT, you know, some of the altcoins has taken the bear market lows. It looks absolutely disastrous. I like to buy fear. That's what I do. I like to buy fear. Okay. What did I buy yesterday? I'll just quickly, I bought some ADA. I bought some Doge, I bought some more Litecoin, I bought some more Link, and I bought some more ICP yesterday. There you go, right? Small little positions, and let's see how it goes. Right, and currently they are all in profits. so for now, but I do have more levels to the downside that I plan to scoop up some more. Okay, so I'm not crazy and going in with my entire portfolio at 100x leverage. Right, guys, I've deployed about, what, 20% of my portfolio of the 100% that I want to deploy. So of the 100% that I want to deploy into altcoins, I've only deployed about 20 to maybe 25%. Okay, so I still have a lot of dry powder to buy up some more dips. So I'm not being crazy and irresponsible. Okay, right, legends, now let's talk about the scenario that I quickly want to talk about over here. Sorry guys, did I lose my... Let's just do this. Okay, there we go. Right, let's talk about this scenario. If price takes this high, okay, and this is why I specifically started with the smaller time frames. If price manages to take this high and it does form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure, now that's going to be interesting because that means that the next scenario that I'm about to show you could be starting to carry higher probability. Okay, so that scenario is this one. Okay, right, still very much in play. Right, so basically what you are looking for is, it's just, you know, this last leg, this last B here to the upside, remember it has to be a 3-wave structure. A B wave has to be a 3-wave structure. Well, you have an A, B, which hit flat targets, and now you're forming your last C here to the upside in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Right, so and this is why I'm saying, guys, that if this structure makes a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have a valid 1. But until it takes this high, you don't have a 1. Do you guys see how I'm paying attention to these structures? Because based on what the structure shows me, I know how to trade. Because then the retracement, once you make a 5-wave structure, the retracement is going to be very interesting, because then I know that there is a chance to create another impulse here to the upside in a 3rd wave. Another 4, another 5. You complete your B that can take the high. Can you imagine how bullish this is going to make people? People are going to say, Dewald, you said the correction is not done and we are now at all-time highs. Well, I'm telling you now, we're going to get another drop. Okay, we're going to get another nasty drop to the downside. And this is what I'm saying, guys. In the most bullish case scenario that I see, that we could potentially even claim $116,000. This is why I have this box. This box is B flat targets. Anywhere inside of this box, price can reject. Anywhere inside of this box. We don't know. I'm just going to be paying attention to all the levels to see where I see weakness. Can I play a swing failure pattern from those levels? Especially if price does move a little bit higher. Right, so just to explain the structure, as you can see, the thick orange line is basically an A, B, C. It's a 3-wave corrective structure. The mess is inside. Okay, that mess inside is your A wave has formed either an ABC or a WXY. Doesn't really matter. Okay, now you've formed an A wave in a 3-wave structure here to the upside. You formed a flat in a B, and now you're going up for a 5-wave structure in a C to complete your 3-wave structure in a B. And then you go down in an aggressive C wave to the downside. Very aggressive. If you reject successfully in this zone, this can get very aggressive and nasty here to the downside. But basically, after you form a B flat, you want the C to take the low of A, which is at $100,400 more or less. Okay. So I just want to highlight this scenario, guys, to say that for those of you that are extremely bullish, believing that the price is going to go higher, yes, there is a scenario that caters for higher levels. But just pay attention to when price hits these areas over here, because it could come down and sweep up the lows again. Right. Then the correction is over in an A, B, C. Then we continue back to the upside. Right, so still a scenario that I'm keeping an eye on, and it has not been invalidated. And this is a very critical moment here. What is price going to do over here? Because if price falls down from where it is right now, the scenario is going to start, then I'm going to say another scenario is deleted. And then maybe we're only left with a WXY scenario. Okay. Right, so we'll see how this unfolds. Okay. Dewald, what do you think of the bull flag on the 1 hour? It has a target of around 111. Is it possible? The bull flag. Bull flag. Are you talking about... Oops. Mr. Crypto Big Brains. If you can share maybe a picture inside of our Discord, I'll go check it out. Are you guys referring to... Okay, I'm not sure. All I see is the trend here to the downside. So, Mr. Crypto Big Brains, if you can maybe share a picture of what you see from a bull flag perspective. Okay, because ideally you would have wanted to form a higher low over here to have a bull, unless it's this. Unless it's this. Okay, Mr. Crypto Big Brains, unless it's this. Okay. Right, and then you're taking the pole. As people like to say, they take the pole from the low to the high. Okay. Or you're taking it from here. Okay. 116,000. But also it will reject the B flat target zone if it does break out here to the upside. So, Dewald on 1 hour, not 4 hour. But guys, 1 hour, 4 hour, same thing, right? Okay, same thing. 1 hour, 4 hours, same thing. It's more local. We'll share in Discord. Okay, thanks, Crypto Big Brains. Yeah, it's difficult for me to see what you guys mean. If I can't see it, I want to see what you guys mean. Show me the bull flag. Let me see what you mean. Okay, and then I can go eat. Let me start up the Discord here in the meantime. Because I know Mr. Crypto Big Brains is going to share it with me. If that I can discuss here on the live stream. Make sure that you go and check out... go and sign up here to our Legends community. We have a free section as well. You can tag me there, write a comment here and say, Dewald, I just dropped you a chart. Please go and have a look at it. Because often in words, when you type things, I struggle to make sense of it. A picture space literally speaks 1,000 words. Right, let me do this. Let's do this. Okay, here's the Discord is online. Discord is online. Let's see. Mr. Crypto Big Brains, have you dropped your chart? Not yet. I'm waiting for you, Mr. Crypto Big Brains. I'm waiting for you to drop your chart. But here you guys can see how we, drop the alpha every single day. Here's the scenario that I'm talking about now to say, guys, just pay attention, okay? Also this morning, told everyone I'm shorting at the 1.382. And I actually took profits here by the lows. Price came, it fell down, took the lows, and I took some profits. Okay, got stopped out of... No, I don't know if I got stopped out at the 1.382. But I was in a short this morning, okay? Right, also Andy sharing daily technical analysis over here. Right, guys, this is the scenario we spoke about yesterday, okay? On the 5-minute time frame. This is the box. I'm looking at the 0.618. I was expecting another leg here to the downside, but then it dipped and it just exploded back to the upside. Right, so guys, we talk about all these things. Right, dropped in Discord. Okay, let me go check it out. Dropped it. Let me see, Mr. Crypto Big Brains. Oh, the mini, the teeny weeny. Okay, you're really focusing on the smaller time frames over here. Yes, I mean, let me go back here. Okay, I would rather call that this little one over here. This is the one that you're talking about, right? This one. The one that I've already played to the upside. Okay. So you would take your pole and you say if it's going to break out, it's going to break here to the upside. Your measured move, yeah, it's a bit high, Mr. Crypto Big Brains, because let's just measure the structure quickly. Remember, the third wave is not allowed to be the shortest, so we can quickly figure out if that's a feasible target. So this is the length of your first wave from the low to the high. Okay, now I have the length of the first wave. Now I go see, okay, the third wave was longer than the first wave. So far it balances, right? Which means that the fifth wave is not allowed to be longer than the third wave. Okay, so now I measure the third wave. So from the low to the high, to the low that we've created over there. So price is not allowed to cross the 1-to-1 extension, which is the target of the pole. Because if price crosses this target over here, it means your third wave is the shortest. It's not allowed. Your third wave is not allowed to be the shortest. So you want your fifth wave to top out before it hits the 1-to-1 extension. Then you still have a valid 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, the most bullish case scenario, or the most bullish target that I did highlight to everyone, is you take your trend-based fib from the low to the high to the low, 0.618. So that is the most bullish target that I see if we do get a fifth wave here to the upside. I must say, guys, this looks awfully corrective. Okay, I know price can drop here to the downside, but when I look at this structure, it just looks awfully corrective. Maybe there's a 5-wave structure, but remember, guys, when you make a top, you want to count 5-wave structures to the downside. If you cannot count 5 waves to the downside, it means that you're going to come and claim that high again. Okay, so maybe on the 1 minute, I'm not going to go and break a leg over this little structure over here, but I mean 1, 2, what? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as a 5-wave structure. This looks more like a mini 5-wave structure, but in relation to this, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so yeah, this could all still be part of the 4th wave, so it can still fall over here. Okay, remember, you take a fib from the low to the high. There we go. Right, as long, let's just keep it simple, put a box. There we go. As long as price bounces in the green boxy, we are still good for a 5th wave to the upside. Okay, so if price breaks down and finds support, there's still a possibility for a 5th wave. It's not allowed to tap the 618. That will be an invalidation, and then I'm going to be looking for shorts with a bounce. Right, I told everyone I already played, I don't know if I got stopped out, I will check after the stream, but I did play this little breakout over here. Okay, I did play that breakout. Good chance that I got stopped out. Maybe I'll just re-enter based on what I see after the live stream. Right, but the best areas to long, because I mean also, if I put on the 0.236, what is also concerning for me is this little retracement, okay, has not even tapped the most shallowest of shallow targets, which is the 236, the 0.236. It's a very shallow retracement, okay? Ideally, what you want to see in a 4th wave is to at least, which is a very rare target, that's how shallow it is, to tap the 0.236. So it's not an invalidation, it can carry on from here, but this is the most common 4th wave target box. Very common. Also from a timing perspective, let's see from a timing perspective if this 4th wave is starting to get out of balance. So you take your time fib from the high of 3 to the low. Okay, now I have the time it took to form this correction. I put it here on top of 3, and now it's perfectly fine because a 4th wave can carry on up until the 4 extension. Then I start questioning it. So it's not even tapped the 3. It's not even tapped the 2. Your 4th wave is most commonly longer than your 2nd wave correction. Okay, so for now, it's still perfectly fine. So even if it falls down in this box, it jumps here to the upside, still a valid 4th wave. From a timing perspective, from a Fibonacci perspective, let's see how this plays out. It would be nice to form a 5-wave structure here to the upside. Okay. Right, because at the moment, this is an ABC. At the moment, this, ladies and gentlemen, is an ABC. Until you make a 5th wave. If price can manage to find support and push up another leg here to the upside, then I'm going to change my tune and say, okay, this is now a 5-wave structure. So the retracement is going to be very interesting for potential long, for continuation back to the upside. Right, but until you don't have a 5-wave structure and you start falling and you tap the 618, I mean, if we tap the 618, I'm going to be looking for shorts. With this retracement, I'm going to be looking for shorts, because then you invalidated the 4th wave, you invalidated your 5th wave. And it's a 3-wave structure, it's an ABC. Okay. We missed you yesterday. I missed you guys too. I felt so bad for not doing a live stream yesterday, but I just have to tell you guys that, after I was done yesterday, I was tired. Like, I wanted to do a live stream, but I was finished last night. I did a lot of recordings. My eyes were dried out. My voice and my throat was dry. So, but now I am. Okay. Deals, once you have said if 2nd wave correction deep, then the 4th wave will be shallow. Yes, Stefan 1, you make a very valid point. Thanks for pointing that out. Rule of alternation is what they teach you in Elliott wave theory. Often what you see is that when you form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, if you have a deep 2nd wave, often what happens is you get a long 4th shallow 4th wave. Okay, if you get a shallow 2nd wave, often what you get is a deep aggressive 4th wave, and then you go and complete your 5th. It's not, it has to happen like that. It's just what they refer to as rule of alternation. That is often something that happens. If you get a shallow retracement in 2, you often get a sharp deep correction and quick correction in number 4, and vice versa. So this could be something that is currently unfolding at the moment, is that when you look at this, you had a very fast, sharp correction in a 2. So it's normal to have a very choppy sideways number 4, and then it goes and it creates 5. Definitely a possibility. Right, but thanks for pointing that out, Stefan 1. Dewald, last time you said you had a lot of dry powder. Do you still have, or you started spending? I'm not sure when you joined the live stream, but I already spent some. I think I spent about 20 to 25%. Okay, so I still have about 75% dry powder. Can BTC just okay? Guys, I just want to clarify. When I say I have 75% dry powder, it's not my entire portfolio. It's 75% of what I'm willing to allocate to my altcoin portfolio. So of the 75%, I still want to allocate the 75. I want that portfolio to be 100% allocated into altcoins, because that's what I set aside for my altcoin portfolio. So of the money that I've set aside for my altcoin portfolio, I've only spent 25% of that, maximum, maybe 20%. Okay, but I have started nibbling. Okay, Devil, do not go zombie, take your rest. Thanks, Rudy. My pleasure, boss. Can you look at ETH or some alts? Chris, I know for a fact as soon as I jump onto some altcoins here, people are just going to leave the stream. But let me go through the ones that I bought yesterday. Okay, just quickly. I'm literally going to spend 1 minute on each one. Okay, so on the list that I bought yesterday, I bought some Litecoin. You might be, okay, let's just focus here, higher time frame. Okay, because I'm crazy, guys. I am batshit crazy. That's why I bought Litecoin yesterday. I am crazy, and that's why I bought Litecoin. Okay, I'm just sticking to that for now. Right, so from a simplicity perspective, I just want to take some of these things here out the way, guys. Okay. Why do I have that line? There we go. I want to switch off some of these things. There we go. Right, legends, I acknowledge an impulsive structure here to the upside, and there's a chance that Link is going to form a higher low and break the trend and break the trend. It already broke my trend over here, but I bought before we broke that trend because my plan was to nibble in this zone. It tapped the golden pocket. This is where I bought some Litecoin. That's also where my limit order kicked in, and then I just added some more on my BTCC portfolio as well. And now you can see here on the smaller time frames, it has actually broken out. okay, of this trend. It has actually broken out. So for me, it's a good time to start buying a little bit. I'm just nibbling, guys. I'm not going all in, okay? I'm just nibbling over here. When it breaks this trend, I'll nibble a little bit more. When it takes the low, and this is my plan, guys, when it takes the low, I will nibble a little bit more because I have a clear invalidation. I'm not going to go through all the details of where I get the invalidations and so forth, right? But so far, this is still a bullish structure. This is still a higher low. So it makes sense for me to nibble a little bit over here. Next token I bought yesterday was... Did I buy Fetch? No, I didn't buy Fetch. I did. Because it tapped my box. Fetch tapped my box for the first time, very briefly. So quick. My alarm went off and I bought a little bit of Fetch. That's where my alarm went off, because it tapped my buy box. Okay? If Fetch breaks this down and comes into my box, I will buy a little bit more. As simple as that. There's the trend that I'm tracking. If it breaks out, okay, this is where I'll add to my position. I'll make that trading decision when it happens. Right, Link, cut it very close here to the bottom. Okay, myself and Andy actually spoke about Link yesterday, and I was like, Andy, damn, it tapped to 0.88. It doesn't look good. Andy was also like, yeah, shit, what happened? You know, it looks like it's going to take the low. But I'm giving Link the benefit of the doubt, because if I go to log scale, ooh, by some miracle, Link did not tap the 0.88. Did not tap the 0.88. But now you guys know, okay? This is where I bought. Right? It went a little bit lower, did not tap the 0.88, broke the trend. Okay, so in the Link trade at the moment, ICP. Right, ICP doesn't have a beautiful structure over here, okay? But it's in my buy zone, okay? Let's just keep it simple. ICP is in my buy zone, and this is where I buy. So when ICP came back into my buy zone, especially when it claimed these lows and it got acceptance back above, swing failure pattern, I added a little bit more ICP. I also bought Doge. Right, breaking out. I bought here at the 786 yesterday. ADA, I bought a little bit of ADA. Looks like it formed a double bottom. Like me a little bit of double bottom over here. I'm just waiting for the break of this trend. Okay, but I nibbled a little bit here on ADA yesterday. Just a little bit. Rune I didn't buy. XRP I didn't buy. AVAX I did buy. And I told the Legends Pro community about AVAX. Okay. It was in my buy zone. Okay, I had a limit order at the 1.618, which kicked in. I told the Legends Pro community I'm buying because it's tapping my zone, and I bought a little bit more over here. Right, so I can only share with you guys what I am doing from a trading perspective. And that's it. 5 altcoins. That's what I bought. Only 5 altcoins. Right, so call me crazy, guys. Call me crazy. I don't care. I am willing to take on this risk. It's a risk that I am willing to take on. I still have a lot of dry powder. I will add to those positions when I feel I need to add them. Because remember, I don't just have to add in weakness. Okay, I don't just have to add when price is inside of my buy zone. I can also add with strength. If I see strength here to the upside, so let me clean up this chart, for example. I often do that as well, okay, but I need to see a clear sign of strength. If, what is this, AVAX, here for example, if AVAX had to absolutely just smash out here and it claims this high, okay, and it rock and rolls and it comes back for a pullback, I will add, yeah, this is where I will add, because now I have a higher high. It's breaking market structure. I bought a little bit here, maybe I didn't buy enough. Okay, I still have so much dry powder left. I will let it run, let it go. Okay, let it go. That pullback is going to be interesting because you want to form a higher low and continue momentum to the upside. So I can also add into strength if I see strength. Okay, I want to see a higher low, a higher high, and I want to see a higher low. It needs to break the trend. Okay, dominance is obviously going to start collapsing, but I can add into strength. I don't mind adding into strength. I don't mind, because if I have an entry over here, let's say my average entry is over here on AVAX. Okay, it breaks out, comes back for a pullback. Maybe it bounces here on the 0.618 when you take a fib from the low to the high. Okay, I will add in such a calculated way that I'm not going to just drag my entry there. No, I'm going to add enough so that when I add, I can still have a protected position. So I will add just enough so that I can still place my stop loss above my entry price to protect my position. But now I have a bigger position size. Okay, if it bounces, I now, this is how I compound. Some people add too much. That's one of the key rookie mistakes that a lot of people make, is that they have a beautiful entry, okay? Price rockets here to the upside. They either add at the wrong place, or if they catch the higher low, they add too much and it drags the entry almost right there. And then often what happens is, okay, you can't protect your position, or you do protect your position, it stops you out and then it continues, still creates the higher low. Right, legends. That is basically spot or on leverage. Kintara, that is a really good question. So on BTCC, I've opened up 2x, and on Bluffin, I've opened up some swing trades, 2x, and then mostly mostly spot positions. Okay, I do have my spot positions where I just add, and then I've also added 2x very low leverage, because I can build my leverage as I see strength to the upside. I might start off with a 2x leverage position. I might end with a 10x leverage position. Just depends on what I see in the future in the next coming months. Okay, because I can up the leverage to make more cash available to add to the position. Okay, but those are advanced trading strategies, and it's not something that I'm going to do right now. It's way too early to even talk about things like that. Right, legends, links for the exchanges always down in the description. 20% is not 15, 20% cash back on Bluffin. 20% cash back, okay, for the money that you deposit. So if you deposit $1,000 into your features account, they will give you 20% of that $1,000 additional that gets airdropped into your account to trade with for free. Okay, you also get 25% discount on your trading fees. BTCC, like I've mentioned, I've opened up those trades that I've just shown you. And Femix, also just by signing up, you get a $150 airdrop for free. Right, guys, and if you want to join our Legends Pro community, here is the link. I have unfortunately run out of time for today. Thank you so much for the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for smashing up that like button. Have yourselves a great evening, afternoon, and morning from wherever you are from around the world. Until the next one, cheers for now.